My 40th birthday came and went without celebration. I had dinner with a few close friends. I received the expected calls from family. But at the end of the day, I was back in my apartment staring at a computer screen full of code, getting a head start on the work week. Sips from a glass of red wine kept me calm. 30 was a harder birthday, I said out loud. 40 felt fine. Dinner had been fun, a double date of sorts. My business partner Manuel and his wife Joy, and the two misfits, me and my quirky friend Denise Landon. You'll need some background on her. I've known Denise for almost 20 years. I had my first job out of college in Camden, New Jersey, working for what I thought was an exciting tech startup. My coworker Leo and I shared a small apartment, and Denise was his girlfriend. Her personality clicked with mine immediately, and we formed an enduring friendship. I could make Denise burst into laughter with the slightest quip or sarcastic comment, and she was constantly surprising me with the most bizarre facts and trivia. Did I know which beverage was the most frequently requested on airplanes? Or the correct term for a group of cats? This was a woman who would follow a car if she needed extra time to decipher the license plate. If a movie character gave a phone number, she would call it. Eventually, Leo was out of the scene, but Denise and I remained friends. She ultimately got involved with an artist named Trent, and when he moved to Los Angeles to pursue his dreams, she followed him. For my part, I was working long hours and staying low-key. The startup failed, but I worked up and down the East Coast at various software companies, acquiring experience and learning new skills. Denise became a teacher. Thousands of miles separated us, and years would pass between meetups for coffee or dinner. But thanks to email and texting, hardly a week went by without a funny, meaningful conversation about our activities or just the news of the day. Even if neither of us had anything noteworthy to say, we found a way to spar and entertain each other. I wouldn't have admitted she was my best friend, but then who could I really rank above her? But I would do Denise a disservice by only mentioning her quirky humor. Beneath the scatterbrain was a kind, compassionate nature, and a patient one. The patience came in handy during my tough times when I was having relationship issues or couldn't find work. Denise listened, which, if you've ever been at a low point, you know is the best thing a friend can offer. Now you might be wondering, why didn't we ever end up together? We got along so well after all. Why did I never entertain the thought? Oh, I could give you the typical answer. Friendship was too valuable. She was like a sister to me, blah blah blah. The true answer is a bit harsh but simpler. The woman is just not attractive. Let me paint the picture and forgive all the details. It's relevant to the story. Denise is extremely thin. She's 5'5", but if she ever weighed 100 pounds, I would be astonished. No muscle tone, no curves, a nearly non-existent chest. There's no mincing words here. She's as flat as a board. On her head is a greasy mop of brown hair, usually buzzed short, and a fair complexion covered in freckles. Her skin didn't tan, where it didn't. Freckle, it burned. On her angular nose rested glasses with a very strong prescription. To the outsider, they gave her a bug-eyed appearance. But beyond these natural attributes was the attitude she had towards her appearance. The woman just couldn't be bothered, and didn't care what she looked like. She had a strong nonconformist streak. No feminine attire ever graced her body. Men's tank tops were more her style, with long, pale, skinny arms on display. Sweatpants and sandals completed the look. And, well, the armpit hair has to be mentioned. I'm a man, and I keep mine trimmed for God's sake. Hers was wild and bushy. Visible even if her arms were down. I can tolerate a lot, but for some reason, the hairy look on women is always a deal-breaker. Let me pause for a moment. You might think I'm being harsh, but in fact, it was the reality of her lack of attractiveness that made our friendship possible. I'm serious. Let's put it this way. If she had been attractive, we would never have been friends. I wouldn't have been able to be myself. I would have shifted into a different personality, and that gradual building of trust and affection, it would never have happened. And for the record, the lack of attraction was mutual. She never had feelings for me either. But out of this came the most rewarding friendship I've ever had with a woman. We both got married. She eventually convinced Trent to tie the knot after years of asking, but he was struggling with his career, and their relationship was unstable. I met Helena, a fellow engineer from Georgia. Neither marriage lasted longer than 5 years. Turns out Trent really did prefer men. A tomboy wife was only so good as a substitute. And as for me and Helena, maybe we'll come back to that. It's not a story I feel like sharing right now. And now, After 20 years, Denise and I were neighbors again. When I finally realized my ambition and started my own business, the opportunity was in Los Angeles. I moved across the country and found myself back in her orbit, just like the old days. Was that 2 years ago? It didn't seem that long. I had shut down the computer and was ready to head to bed when the doorbell rang. Who could surprise me at home at 11 p.m.? It was a short list. I opened the door and there stood Denise. Well, is this a last-minute birthday, Graham? Are you going to sing for me? She chuckled. Not quite. I stepped aside and let her in. Immediately, I could tell something was off. Denise looked dejected, like she was carrying a burden. She plopped down on my sofa and stared straight ahead. Do you want something to drink? I offered. I'll take water. She started talking as I filled a glass from the tap. I don't know, Eric. I don't feel so great. Are you feeling sick? No, it's more like a malaise. Do you ever get the sensation like your life was supposed to go in one direction and you always assumed it would? But then you look up and realize, I'm almost 40. My life isn't progressing somewhere. This is my existence, for better or worse. Yeah, I know the feeling. I didn't expect to be divorced or childless at 40. Eric, I came over here because I want to make a change. I need your assistance with something. Name it. This isn't easy to articulate. Denise took a sip of water and fiddled with the glass. Okay, I said, but you know it's me you're talking to. Whatever this issue is, we'll solve it together. Denise looked me in the eye, and I could see hers were moist. Thank you for saying that. A silence, and then, it isn't easy to admit when you've been mistaken. But I'm lonely, Eric. I haven't dated in years. Really? I feigned surprise. Yeah. I know I give off a peculiar vibe to guys, and I don't look how I'm supposed to look. But I'm content that's the way it is. I want to meet someone who isn't interested in the superficial aspects. But it hasn't been working. I've been on some dating sites. The guys who seem decent, I start conversations, but they don't reply. And the guys who have contacted me have all been way too old or they're inappropriate. These dating sites, it's not a great experience for guys either, but I'd hate to have to use them as a woman. There's a guy I know at work. I'm kinda interested in him, but I'm afraid to say anything. I know that feeling, but sometimes you've got to take a chance. At this, Denise looked like she might cry. She stared at the floor. Look, Eric, I'm not oblivious. I've heard the way men comment about my appearance. There's nothing wrong with your appearance, and she shook her head. No, I'm not looking for reassurance. I'm not here for sugarcoating the truth or to be patronized. Then what do you want? I want help from a guy's perspective. I want to know what to do to make myself more appealing before I ask this guy out. You want my help? I was astonished. Denise, I can barely match a shirt with a pair of pants. I can't give anyone beauty advice. This is a question for a girlfriend. No, I think that's getting it backwards. I need a man's opinion. I need to know what guys want to see. I've been trying it my way for too many years. I'm tired of being lonely. I'm ready to do whatever I have to do to compete with other women. Great, that's great. I wish I could be useful. I just don't see how I can help. Eric, I've been basically wearing the same outfit since the day we met. I'm sure you've got some thoughts about what I could do differently to catch a man's eye. Leo liked you the way you are. He was misguided. I want to find a real man, someone who can take care of himself. So who is this guy at work? Another teacher? I don't want to tell you about him just yet. First, I need to know. Will you assist me? Assist with a makeover? I don't know. You just said whatever the problem was, we'd solve it together. Inside, I was torn. Did I have views on Denise's appearance? Certainly I did, but I never wanted to disclose any of it to her. How do you tell your best friend that she's essentially unattractive? How could I hurt her feelings like that? But then again, she's asking for my help. You don't turn your back on a friend. Don't I owe her sincerity? Shouldn't I try to give her the best possible chance with this guy? I might be able to really make a difference. All right, I decided. You want my help? You can have my assistance. Oh, Eric. Her eyes sparkled. Thank you. I will tell you what I think you can do to enhance your appearance for this guy. But I'm going to have to be straightforward, and I can't spare your feelings, so we shouldn't proceed unless you're prepared for me to be honest. That's perfect. That's exactly what I want. Okay. I stood up and approached her. Stand up and turn around slowly. Denise rose and dutifully did a slow 360 with her arms out. Beanpole. That was the only term that could accurately describe her. Or maybe scarecrows. Maybe I shouldn't be a pessimist. There are plenty of guys out there who like slender women, right? We just need to lose the tomboy look. What you need here is a little, yeah? Femininity. Nothing about you says feminine. That's what guys want to see, right? So, okay. Where should we start? I was thinking we'd discuss clothing. Sure, let's begin there. The sweatpants? Out. No more sweatpants. Sweatpants are for lazy Sunday mornings in bed on a cold day. You gotta think skirts and dresses, pants and jeans, tights. Uh-huh. Your flip-flops and sandals, out. I don't want to see those anymore. But guys like that, they want to see your toes, don't they? I could paint them. Incorrect. Guys want to undress you, they want to take off your shoes, they want to imagine what your feet look like, how attractive they are. What we're going to do is create some mystery. We need to let their imaginations do the work. Denise sat back down as I continued. Now, your feet are perfectly appealing, but we're not revealing them. When you've been dating the guy for 6 months, sure, bring the sandals back. For now, he needs to earn a glimpse of your feet. Jeez. Sir. And it's the same with the tank tops. I don't want to see your arms. I know I have slim arms. That's not the point. We're going to make guys imagine what your arms look like. We're not going to show them. So how about I just wear a burqa and then the guys can imagine everything? It's up to you, Denise. Either the guy sees your arms when he meets you and thinks, she's got some skinny arms, or he sees them much later when you're cuddling on the couch after the 3rd date, and he's so excited that you're taking off your top that he won't notice and he won't care. At that point, he wouldn't care if you were an amputee. Okay, sleeves, what else? Look, your whole wardrobe, you know what your wardrobe says about you? What? It says I don't care about my appearance. I do care. Denise's voice was starting to rise. So I don't wear skirts, so what? I'm not looking for some alpha male jerk. Don't you know me? I'm not interested in what society says I have to wear. Like walking around in painful high heels because someone else decided it was trendy. I don't care about superficial stuff like that, and I don't want a man who cares either. Because let's say he does care. How long are he and I going to last? I do want to change, but I don't want to pretend to be someone I'm not. Denise, I hear you, okay? I know you aren't interested in conformity, but here's my insight that I'm trying to give you. You see, men, we have primal instincts. We become attracted, or not at first sight. You have that one chance to make an impression, so that means, yes, you have to pay attention to the superficial stuff. Just at the beginning. Just to meet the guy. I think if you're willing, we can make you nearly stunning, but it's not going to mean you're being deceitful, it's just to make that good impression. But it's not me. It's just to get this guy interested enough to go on the date. Then on the date, you can probe his mind and find out if he's a jerk. There are a lot of guys who are fundamentally decent, I'm serious. But who would be put off by the tomboy look you've got going on? Your androgynous style. You use it as a test, I get it. But too many good and decent guys are going to fail the test. Give them a chance to get to know you and to understand you, and I think you'll be surprised. Denise looked away in contemplation. Finally, she sighed. So what, I've got to get heels. Heels wouldn't hurt, but the word I'm thinking of here is feminine. You've got to be more feminine. Why? Well, I don't know. Evolution, human nature, guys prefer feminine women. You have to embrace being feminine. We need to tone down the tomboy thing considerably. So what kind of wardrobe changes are we talking about? Denise had a distressed, almost anxious expression as she awaited more bad news. Let's try some new outfits, clothes that will trigger the male brain to think of all the crushes and attraction they've ever experienced. Okay, how about a schoolgirl costume, with the plaid skirt and the jacket? Really? Or perhaps an athletic look, like you just came from a yoga session. You would not want to see me in a yoga outfit. Lady executive, the professional look, or casual, jeans and maybe like a lace blouse. Okay, I understand. Something feminine. And I should ditch the glasses, I assume. Oh, no, we keep the glasses. Glasses are fantastic. That's something else the guy can remove. You have look number 1 with the glasses. Smart, focused, all business. Then you have look number 2 without the glasses. Vulnerable, beautiful, enigmatic. We're going to make the guy envision that. He's going to imagine what you look like without the glasses. And when he finally gets to see it, he might be overjoyed. I can't see 3 feet ahead of me without the glasses. By the time he takes them off, he's going to be infatuated with you, so don't worry about it. He will be a blur. He's going to be an alluring blur. Good, you promise all this, by the way. If you follow all my advice, guys will be tripping over themselves to ask you out. Shall we move on to hair? Oh, we weren't finished? Clothes are just the start. This is a full makeover we're discussing. Okay, proceed. You want me to grow my hair out? Yes. My hair looks really awful when it's long, Eric. It's all greasy and flat. That's why you've never seen it that way. That whole slow-motion hair-tossing thing in the shampoo ads? I can't do that. When was the last time you tried to wear it long? Are you certain there isn't a product you could use to give it some volume and make it look natural? I've tried all that. I know nothing about hair products, but you aren't some kind of medical anomaly. There's got to be countless other women with your hair, and I bet there's a bottle at CVS that can fix it. Okay, I'll take another look. What's next? Well, we weren't finished with hair. Now I have to get a little personal. You did request the full and honest truth. Yes, I want to hear it, she said, though her expression suggested otherwise. Your eyebrows are fine, and your lashes. A little eyebrow grooming every so often is good. It shows the guy you're paying attention to your appearance. Okay. Below your eyelashes, and there can't be any hair, anywhere. Denise said nothing and gave me a blank expression. I took a chance. The whole tank top with bushy armpits thing. It's a turnoff. I can't speak for all guys, but I don't think men like underarm hair on women, and you don't shave your legs. This is not ideal for what you're aiming to achieve. Denise surprised me. I agree, she said. I'll take care of it. And as for I gestured vaguely. The personal area? Your best option is to have nothing at all. But if you really want, you can settle for something small and well-maintained. Well-maintained? I mean like neatly trimmed? We're talking about just a small Japanese garden here. A little triangle. A heart. A landing strip. That's all you need. This is very detailed. You don't have any tattoos, do you? Nope. Good. Though, that could be kind of interesting. The guy gets your clothes off and sees something you took a chance on from 20 years ago. It could be kind of charming. Well, I don't have any. Do we need to stop? Is this getting too awkward? No, it's just, I've never had this kind of discussion before. I realize I did ask for it. I moved closer to her and placed a reassuring hand on hers. Listen, all these changes I'm suggesting, it's like we're creating an ad campaign. The product we're promoting is you. I'm not suggesting we alter the product. I love the product. We're just talking about the presentation. I understand. So let's wrap this up. Next is makeup. I don't wear any. And I think usually that's wise. Too much makeup makes anyone look cheap. But I think a little makeup, just a touch, is the best approach. Really? She sighed. Makeup? Oh yes, like grooming the eyebrows, it's all about sending the right message. Just a bit of makeup. Not enough to make you look garish, but enough so that when the guy leans in, he notices it. It reassures him that you care about your appearance. That's all it is, reassurance. Okay. Posture, I continued, is also crucial. No more slouching. You have a tendency to slouch and hunch, no more. I want to see heads up, shoulders back, chest forward. At this, Denise looked away. What chest? She said, almost in a whisper. I don't have one. I looked at her sympathetically. Do you think I should get breast implants? She asked. No, I answered. I wouldn't want you to. Mother Nature had a sense of humor with me, Denise said quietly. She didn't give me much to work with. It doesn't matter, I said in response. Forget Mother Nature. You're going to look fantastic. And that actually brings me to the final topic. Your physique. How would you like me to change that? I want to see 10 or 15 more pounds on you. Now you sound like my mom. I can't, okay? I can't gain weight. Even if I force-feed myself, the pounds don't stay on. I think you need a different approach. I agree we're never going to get you looking curvy like Marilyn Monroe. But muscle tone. We can add some muscle. The difference between super skinny and super athletic, it's a very fine line. With just a little bit of tone on your legs and arms, suddenly you're not skinny anymore. You're super fit, and guys love that. You need to get on an exercise regimen that focuses on muscle building, and we'll pair it with one of those scientific weight gain diets. Believe me, Denise, your body isn't cursed. It'll respond the way it's supposed to with the right food and exercise. It won't work. We're only looking for 10 or 15 pounds here, that's it. I can give you the name of a trainer. Okay, she said. Trainer, muscle tone, a little makeup, posture, feminine outfits, longer hair, landing strip, is that it? Well, that's a lot. Can you do all that? Do I have a choice? Some of these things you can start doing tomorrow. Others, like the hair and the fitness, that will take time. She stood up. I think I better be going. I've had about all the guy perspective I can handle today. Hey, I followed her as she headed for the door. Getting in front of her, I faced her, trying to look her in the eyes, but she didn't want to meet my gaze. Hey, did I go too far? Did I hurt your feelings? No. Denise, I don't care what you look like. I think you do. She opened the door and I stepped aside as she walked out. Maybe honesty isn't always the best policy. It was the last I saw of her for months. 2. You're a jerk. Harsh daylight filled the bedroom. My wife Helena was collecting items from around the room and tossing them into an open suitcase. I stood in the doorway, pleading with her. I know, I told her, but we talked about counseling. Can you please not move out till we've at least met with the counselor? How many women, Eric? How many, and how far back? It was just one, and just once. Why am I lying? Just one where you got caught, you mean? Helena stopped to look at me. How many times when you didn't get caught? Hell, it was just the one time. This is a dream, right? She left me years ago. You're lying, she hissed at me, and that's why I'm leaving, not for betrayals in the past that we could work through, but for the lies you're telling right now. Don't go. My eyes filled up with tears. I'm all alone here. You like being alone? No, I don't. Don't leave. Stop punishing yourself. Just wake up. I woke up. The room was dark. Thin strips of streetlight came through the blinds and covered the walls. Going back to sleep proved to be impossible, so I got up and exercised as the sun rose. My plan for the day was to get a little work done on a laptop at my local coffee bar. Free Wi-Fi and cheap caffeine were often the right stimulants on a Sunday morning. I guess it was around 10 o'clock. I was deep into coding when I heard the jingle at the door and instinctively looked up. I saw a stranger walk in and I looked back down for about a second. Then my brain said, Denise, and my head snapped back up. It was her. Denise walked toward me and then stopped about 3 feet away with one hand on her hip and a prankster's smile on her face. Hi, Eric, she greeted me. I stared dumbfounded. My jaw was slack, my mind boggled. I'm not going to lie and pretend I didn't recognize her. It was definitely Denise, but it was her, and it also wasn't her. My brain simply couldn't process the contradiction. But what? I said in reply. She had never looked like this. Chestnut-colored hair fell around her shoulders and gleamed in the daylight. Her glasses were new, less bookish, her lips pink with lipstick. Her freckles, always a hallmark of her awkwardness, now somehow were an asset. It didn't make sense. Her smile had always been infectious, her best feature, but now her face beamed with a radiance that in an instant I knew had always been there, but that I never wanted to notice. Lowering my gaze, I took in her white blouse and pencil skirt, which somehow was hugging actual curves. Denise had a waist, who knew, sculpted and toned calves stood atop high-heeled shoes. Her posture broadcasted confidence. Several other men in the cafe had paused their conversations to check her out. Look, I'm no fool. It was still Denise with the same gangly limbs, slight overbite, bad eyesight, and she didn't walk any better in heels than I did. There was a chance this was all a joke. But the truth could not be denied. Every winning feature of her looks had been augmented, spotlighted, and every weak point hidden. Opening my mouth to speak, even my voice was conflicted. I knew I was talking to an old friend, and yet somehow I spoke with the quickening heart rate any guy has when meeting an attractive girl. What have you done? I changed a few things, she said with an impish smile. Thank you for noticing. Are you in disguise? I whispered. Do you work for the CIA now? No, I just took a friend's advice. Mind if I sit? Denise, she made herself comfortable in the lounge chair opposite. Denise, you look amazing. Thank you. Are these all the things I said to do? Everyone. The 15 pounds were the hardest part. You gained weight. It went straight to my stomach and butt. My arms are still skinny. But you've got sleeves now. Of course, a guy has to earn the arms, right? Haha, oh my God, Denise, you look gorgeous. I want you to know that. It's strange, but I feel different too. This new look gives me confidence. I feel like I could do anything. Yeah? And I've noticed people treat me differently now. Now that you're hot. I've never had so much attention from guys. It's really weird. But also a little depressing since I know it's fake. Is it really fake, though? If you're getting compliments, I'm sure they're genuine. Yeah, I don't know. It's confusing, and I don't want to get used to it. I kind of preferred when I only got one glance instead of two. Now you know why hot chicks can be so irritating. Imagine getting that treatment every day of your life. You think you're queen. She flashed another one of those smiles at me. I continued. Well, that guy you were crushing on, the one from work. You're ready now. You've never looked better. Ask him out, and you know something. A, he's going to say yes, and B, if he doesn't, don't care about it. You can do better than him now. You're a knockout. Yeah, I think it's time, but I'm still nervous. If you're nervous, that just means you're human. Be nervous. Enjoy the nervousness. Thanks. You know, after you left my apartment that night, I regretted the way I acted. Why? The brutal honesty. I forgot how deep words can cut. I know you felt hurt when you left. I'm sorry for being a jerk. Don't be sorry. I'm glad you said what you did. I thought your advice was just what I needed. Well, thanks for taking it that way. I just wanted to be helpful. Denise shifted around uncomfortably in her seat like she was distracted. I looked up at the menu board. You want something to eat? We've got to keep you filled up with carbs, right? Denise started to speak, stopped, then tried again. Actually, there's something I want to ask. Ask away. Well, you know how you said I'm ready to ask that guy out? Yeah, well. Denise fidgeted in her seat. Her eyes darted up to mine and then down to the floor. When she spoke, it sounded like she had to pull the words out with a struggle. You want to go out for dinner sometime? What? Yeah, anytime you want. But what does that have to do? Realization dawned. No, impossible. She doesn't mean me. Denise was now sitting upright in the lounge chair, still as a statue. Her breath was shallow and her eyes were unblinking. Her right hand had an iron grip on her left. Okay, it's me. Denise? Like maybe Italian or seafood? You said it was a guy at work, Yeah, I lied. Sorry about that. I was in shock. I was the guy, my best friend. Oh God, this was horrible. The friendship was over. I was going to say no, and then there'd be no going back. We'd be finished. I looked at her. She was practically in agony. Why? Why is she doing this? What does she expect me to say? Just think about it, she said, standing up rapidly. I was suddenly aware I had been silent for too long. Breathing rapidly, she began walking out on her unsteady heels. I saw my best friend in pain, and suddenly my shock was gone. I was flooded with pity. I dashed up and raced after her. She made it outside, and I got in front of her. Hey, wait up. Denise stopped but looked away. Her lip was trembling. Look at me, I said. With a great effort, she turned and looked at me. You caught me by surprise there. First with this makeover. It has my brain all confused. I know. And then this. Look. I paused again, having no idea what to say. She began to walk away again and again. I intercepted her. Denise. But no words came. My mind was swimming. Each time I blinked, she changed. She was a real beautiful woman, a stranger. But then no, she was my gawky friend, wearing this fraudulent outfit, stumbling in heels, pretending. She was moments away from tears, so I had to be quick. Listen, I swear to you, whatever happens, I will not hurt you. Okay? Okay, she whispered. She leaned over and kissed me on the cheek. Call me. And she was gone. I walked home in a stupor. Then in the privacy of my dark apartment, I put my face in my hands. I didn't want this. I couldn't give her what she wanted, and the line she had crossed couldn't be uncrossed. It meant the end of the friendship. My phone hummed. It was a text. It was 2 photos, both of Denise. One showing off her new look, head to toe, the other a close-up of her smiling face. And a message. I'm okay now. Take all the time you need. I lingered on her face, and again my brain tried to process the contradiction. My best friend, who I was not attracted to, never had been, and yet there was that radiance. That's crazy, I said to the living room furniture. No one becomes beautiful. They either are or they're not. I mean, what did she want from me? To go on a date? The very idea was ridiculous. Dates are for getting to know you shit. What were we supposed to talk about on a date? Where did we go to school? What kind of music do we enjoy? What kind of charade did she expect it to be? And what about after the date? She would want what people want after dates. For the first time, I did something I had made a point not to do for 20 years. I imagined fooling around with Denise, the most taboo of all fantasies. This was the wall that held up the friendship, and I was about to knock it down. Okay, so there I was, holding her. I pressed my lips to hers. Nothing. This did nothing for me. It didn't feel right. My mind drifted to the image of her standing in front of me in the coffee shop. That impish grin. That strange, awkward, beautiful woman who flashed that knowing grin at me. I could remember 1,000 laughs coming out of that mouth. I took the phony back out of my pocket and pulled up the photo. Yes, there she was. I scrolled over to the close-up of her smiling face. There was a hint of that knowing grin there. She wanted to let me know she was okay. She couldn't fool me. She wasn't okay. She was a nervous wreck. She had probably taken 17 of these photos before she found this one where the smile looked natural. Attraction to Denise. Was it even possible? I tried again. I imagined looking into her eyes. The kiss was imminent. I leaned in. Nope. No sale. I mean, for God's sakes, weren't we already close enough? For years this girl had been my closest confidant. She had listened with patience to every complaint about Helena when all of that was happening. I had helped her through her own darkest hours. What was wrong with her? What was romance going to add to what we had? You can't date your friends, I said with insistence to the carpet. Involuntarily, my mind went back to the first photo. I dwelled for a moment on her new physique. Then Denise stepped out of the skirt. The shirt slipped off as well. There she stood in a bra and panties and heels, still smiling, and turned around, showing me a pert little butt which moved up and down as she walked. Where was she walking? To my bedroom. She glanced behind and crooked a finger at me, telling me to follow her. I did. I stepped through the doorway. The bra fell down. The panties followed. She turned back around to face me and moved onto the bed. Now what was I feeling? I was scared out of my mind. She's naked. My friend is naked. She wants me. She wants the last part of me that I haven't given her. I joined her on the bed naked too. My heart shouldn't be thumping. She's my friend. I can't show her my real vulnerability. I can't give her everything. Why not? She asks, running her hands up and down my sides. She slips a leg between mine, smooth, hot and cold. I blinked myself out of the fantasy. An idea occurred to me. Sleep on it. See how you feel tomorrow. Always wise advice. I put my computer away. I turned off the phone. 3. You're a jerk. Harsh daylight filled the bedroom. My wife Helena was collecting items from around the room and tossing them into an open suitcase. I stood in the doorway, pleading with her. I love you, I said desperately. Doesn't that mean anything? Is that what you tell them all? Helena mocked. All your girlfriends? You love them? You know I don't. This dream again. And now I find out about Denise. You and Denise? How could you do that to me? No, there was panic in my voice. Nothing happened with her. You cheated on me with Denise? She's your friend? You preyed on your own friend? I didn't. I would never do that. You're a liar. This is pointless. Wake up. I woke up. Sometimes after a good night's sleep, I can wake up with a fresh perspective and with new insight on a problem. Sometimes a coding problem that confounded me the night before will have an obvious solution in the morning. But I awoke with no new clarity on the problem of Denise. Again and again as I went through the motions of my morning, I pulled up Denise's picture and studied it. At work, in the office manual and I shared, he noticed my preoccupation and silently circled behind me to see what had me so distracted. Nice, he offered, lowering his head close to the phone and nodding approvingly at the image. You got a new girlfriend. You weren't going to tell me? That's Denise. She's not my girlfriend. Manuel was not entirely convinced. Where'd you meet her? Meet her? She's one of my oldest friends. You had dinner with her. Remember, my birthday? What? Manuel looked closer. That's her? I thought she was like a lesbian or something. That's an old picture. No, it's her new look. I exited the photo app and shoved the phone into my pocket. He whistled, but then stopped and grew thoughtful. You know, buddy, be careful. I can see you're, a little distracted today. Your friend isn't quite what you thought she was. That's an understatement. But friends are friends. You want love, you look somewhere else. You should never date your friends. No? Definitely not. They already know you too well. They would see through all your rubbish. How can you date someone without talking rubbish? You can't. No way. His curiosity satisfied, he sat back down at his desk and resumed typing. Good talk. The day wasn't a total loss. I did have one insight. I found myself wishing that I felt an attraction to Denise. Everything would be so much simpler if I did. I would be willing to gamble on friendship. I realized why I kept going back to her 2 photos and staring at them compulsively. I was trying to make myself feel something, to become interested. Is this what people did in countries with arranged marriages? Did you look at your new spouse and try to persuade yourself to desire them? Is it even possible to talk yourself into lust? Even with her makeover, it was still Denise, and God, the idea of Denise in heels, lipstick, and a dress was funny. Too funny. Sure, I was the one who told her to wear them, but not to attract me. But every time I wanted to simply laugh and put the phone away, I noticed the smile. That joy was not fake. What if that joy could become my own joy? That evening she texted me, just one line, "Take a chance on me." There was no point responding unless I had something to say, and I still had nothing. I so badly wanted advice, the kind you get from a best friend. In bed a little later, I decided to embrace the contradiction. She was still my best friend. Why not ask her what I should do? I reached for my phone. "Hey," I texted. I looked at the screen for about 1:30. Then the green bubble. "Hey yourself. I need a little advice. Can you help me?" If it's with coding, probably not. I wish it was. See, I've got this friend, a dear friend, probably the closest friend I have in the world. Go on. But this friend, she wants something from me, something big and unexpected. Sounds serious. And here's the problem. If I say no, I think I will lose her forever. And if I say yes, I think it ends with disappointment. And then I lose her forever. No response. And I don't want to lose her forever. I don't know what to do. Can you help me? A pause. Yes, I can help you. Good. Please tell me. I think you've got it wrong in 2 ways. If you say no to this very important friend, I don't think you will lose her forever. That's just my hunch. And you're wrong about saying yes. I wouldn't lose her then either. I mean the part about the disappointment, the big, unexpected thing that she wants that you can't give. I don't buy it. Too pessimistic. You might be surprised. I've been thinking about it nonstop. I've tried to see this friend that way, but it's not working. Not to change the subject to me, but I recently went through some really interesting personal changes and growth. You mean your makeover? Yeah, and it wasn't just the change in appearance. I feel different now. I have a new outlook on my whole life. I can go after my dreams. I've found this new courage. I can tell. It took all of that courage to open up to you in the coffee shop, but now I feel even stronger. Give me a chance, Eric. You can change too. Your reluctance, that can change. I can help you see me in a new way. I felt a sting of frustration. It's like she had no idea the thin ice we were on. This is reckless. Don't you know what happens when a relationship goes south? When will it explode? I do. We both do. Why take this risk? BC, the alternative is worse. The way things are now is worse. Being my friend is worse. The conversation had taken a wrong turn. It was heading towards an argument, and that could end with us not speaking to each other. There was no room for error. You don't know how I feel. You're right. I don't. What can I do? How do I do the right thing? My advice, as your friend, your attorney, your astrologer, whatever else I can qualify for, is to have dinner with me on Friday and hear what I have to say. Shit, now I'm nervous again. Courage can be fickle, right? Okay, you win. Take me out this Friday. My cards are on the table. I'm conflicted, but I will keep my mind open. Oh my God, thank you, Eric. I can't wait. Where do you want to go? Can you do Ristorante Moretti at 7:30, by the pier? Yeah, I think so. I'll make a reservation. No need, I made it days ago. It's the power of positive thinking. You're so crazy. By the way, Manuel warned me I shouldn't date my friends. I agree. Not all of them. That wouldn't work. That's not what he is. Jesus, good night. Okay. I staved off the awkward argument. And in the process, I committed to this dinner date. By that point, I knew it was the right thing to do. If I was going to reject this romantic overture, it would have to be face to face. It couldn't be done by text. I would need to let her down gently, with care and love and sensitivity, and it would be painful for her regardless. But I had promised to listen with an open mind, which meant there was a chance, a non-zero chance, as an engineer might say, that she could talk me into what? Into finding her attractive? Desiring her? Impossible, but then why did she seem so confident? After I turned off the bedside lamp, I closed my eyes and entertained another Denise fantasy. In this one, she approached me and pulled off a t-shirt. She stood at the foot of the bed, topless. Instead of breasts, she had small buds, barely detectable. Her hands shook on her hips. She obviously was fighting the instinct to raise her hands to cover herself. She wore a brave smile, and the battle raged within her to not turn away. I hated seeing her in such distress, with such need. I wanted to rush forward and embrace her, comfort her as she had comforted me so many times. But that was not the kind of embrace she wanted. Again, even in fantasy, I couldn't desire her. What do? I thought, as sleep took me. 4. The next few days were long and uneasy. Storm clouds rolled in on Thursday, darkening the office to the point where we needed all the lights on at noon. I didn't share my Friday plans with Manuel. I didn't want his needling on top of my own unsettled thoughts. I had turned to Google, inquiring about friends who wanted to get out of the friend zone. The advice that I found was mainly intended for the friend in the zone, the one who had fallen deeply for a platonic friend. The advice was, give your crush an ultimatum. Let her know your feelings won't be changed. If she isn't interested, then the friendship has to end, for both of your sakes. I pictured Denise at the restaurant, all dolled up and dressed in another fraudulent outfit, and I imagined her summoning all of her new courage and giving me this ultimatum. It would be a strong move, playing your best card, the withholding of the friendship. But it was also a bad move. Google was wrong. Nobody wants to be coerced into dating you. And so, I imagined life without her. A life where I couldn't call her and kibitz and commiserate and laugh, where we couldn't go out for drinks or to a movie, a life where Joy's cup wasn't quite empty, but low enough that I could see the bottom. The storm still hadn't broken on Friday. The clouds were still dark and there was little wind. I left work early, changing in the men's room into a fresh shirt. Traffic to the restaurant in Santa Monica would be unpredictable, so I wanted extra time. On the drive, I rehearsed various responses to the ultimatum. There's no need to be rash. Isn't our friendship better than nothing? To plead, I would do anything for you, but would you want me to lie? I can't return this affection. To bargaining, we give it a chance, but it's destined to end in disappointment. It would be cruel to raise your hopes. I was too cautious, estimating the drive time. I arrived a half hour early and got a spot in the First Street lot right across from Moretti. Great. Should I sit in the car for 30 minutes like a maroon? Maybe I should head in and loosen up at the bar. But there was no need. I wasn't the only one who was early. About 5 spots away to my left was a familiar car, the white-hot hatchback VW GTI. And there, standing in front of it, grinning at me, was Denise herself. Hands on hips, like in my daydream. She wore a knee-length green print dress, cinched high on the waist with a belt of the same design. The sleeves were short and her stick-figure limbs poked out in 4 places. Again, her petite feet stood on heels. Her chestnut-colored hair now looked to be flat-ironed. Without losing her gaze, I stepped out of my car and walked towards her in fresh awe and appreciation. You're ready for the runway. You like it? Her smile broadened and her magnified eyes blinked behind the thick lenses. You look even better than you did the other day. She grasped my hand. I've been looking forward to this, Eric. I'm so happy you came. You got here early. So did you. Hey, I was just trying to beat the rain, you know. Looks pretty scary. It does. Should we get inside? I held out my arm in an after-you gesture and we strolled up to the door. Ristorante Moretti was an Italian throwback restaurant with faux formal touches. The servers wore tuxedos, the Caesar salad was tossed tableside, and on busy nights a violinist would make the rounds and serenade you. After our apology for being early, the hostess sat us at a cozy two-top. Denise hung her small clutch off the chair and settled in, chin on one hand. Light from a fake candle flickered between us. I strummed my fingers on the tablecloth and looked at her expectantly. Other than the hint of a smile, she seemed content to just enjoy the moment. I was struck again at the silliness of seeing Denise in normie dress-up, with eyeshadow and styled hair. I couldn't stifle a laugh. "What are you doing?" I chuckled. "What are we doing?" She looked away slightly as if considering my question with great seriousness. "We could have talked at my place, no? And if it's Italian food you want, you know I make a pretty good chicken parm. What's the point of all this?" I waved my arm at the dining room. "Good evening. My name is Jasmine. Welcome to Moretti. Thank you for braving the storm for us. What can I start you off with from the bar?" As if proving my point that this was all too silly to be real, seeing little Jasmine in a tuxedo was the finishing touch. "You see?" I thought of Denise, opening my palm and holding it up for her. All part of the plan. She appeared to think back at me, smiling, reaching for the drink card. Denise scanned the card quickly. "Can you recommend a cocktail?" "Everyone loves our Paloma." I knew she was struggling to read the card in the low light. Her nose almost touched it. "Oh yes, I see it. I'll try it. Thank you." "Very good. I will be back shortly." "Oh, she'll definitely be back shortly," I conspired with Denise as Jasmine moved on. "What do you think she was, 4'11"? Denise leaned forward. "Well, we can't all be as blessed as you. It's not every day they get a perfect specimen like you in here. So tall and striking." "Damn right. Maybe she needs a makeover." "Stop it, see, look over there, see that guy?" I pointed. Across the restaurant was the violinist, playing a heartfelt tune for a party of 4 that was undoubtedly doing their best to be polite. "You realize he's going to be over here eventually. We are going to have to listen to that. And this is absurd, Denise, I love you, but this is absurd." At the word love, she appeared to flinch and tightened her grip on the cocktail card. Then she relaxed again. In the back of my mind the thought came, how nervous is she? "You told me," she started, "that you would have an open mind. It is now time." She paused for effect. "For your mind to open." I know I said that, but... And... She held up her hands and aimed them at my head. "Open." I sat there dumbly, allowing the spell to work. She wiggled her fingers. "Your mind is now open. You mean open to the idea of us being together?" "Yes, and all I want is for you to hear me out." "I will, but I'd like you to hear me out too." "Of course," said Denise. And her smile didn't falter, but again she tensed up visibly. In the car I had practiced a calming tone, a comforting tempo, soothing words. But in the moment, when it mattered, face to face, I couldn't summon any fake tone or mood. This was my best friend. I could only be honest. I had to be myself. "You mean more to me, you crazy woman, than anyone in my life, since Helena left me, since I moved out here. My new life here could have just been 18 hours a day of work, just building my new business. The fact that it's been more than that, full of laughter and friendship, I owe it to you. And I know I've made a difference in your life too. I'm a failure in marriage and relationships. But in friendship, I'm a success. Because of you." She listened attentively, hand clenched tight. I continued, "If you take what we have, our connection, and you add to it, romance. Love? Yes, if you add that, that's like an explosive chemical. You put everything at risk. To gain what? For what purpose? What are we missing that we don't have?" "I'd say everything. The risk is too big. Have I mentioned my track record in love? I have messed up every relationship I've ever had. You're my success. You're the reason I can look in the mirror and think I'm a good man. That I can be a loyal friend, and we should risk that? And just in case it matters, I cannot make myself see you that way. I don't see you that way. I tried. It didn't work." Denise exhaled. She kept her cool, and I could see that with great effort she was going to keep her optimism. "You see, Eric, this is why I like you. There's no bullshit." After a pause, "I want to take the risk." "I just told you. I know. And the part about the attraction, there's no getting around that. Well, I have a theory about attraction that I think you'll find persuasive. A snort. Oh, really? This I have to hear. In a minute, let me come back to that. She sat up straight. In the meantime, you agreed to hear my side too. I leaned back and swept my hand out. By all means, you have the floor. From outside, a low roll of thunder. We're on a date. We're having dinner. We've got some time. I would just like for us to get to know each other better. What? Get to know each other? My voice spiked involuntarily. A few other diners looked in our direction. With effort, I calmed to a whisper. Get to know each other better? Yes, if that's okay. Denise, you know me better. We've known each other since. You know me better than my parents know me. Hello again. Jasmine was back. Here are your drinks. It was a generous pour. I was going to need it. How lovely, said Denise, and would you care to hear about tonight's specials? Definitely. After a description of a grilled branzino, who I momentarily envied for his luck at having shuffled off all mortal cares, we picked up the forgotten menus and made quick decisions. With a slender arm, Denise raised her glass. What should we toast to? Brutal honesty? I raised mine. How about courage? You think? It's one of the best virtues, maybe the best, and you keep showing it. You want to take a big risk, but you've already taken so many of them. I think you're very courageous. This earned me her signature smile, the one that dazzled, the one that now had the power to confuse and disorient me. Was she Denise, or was she someone else? To courage, she toasted. Clink. We sipped, and for a while the silence hung. Well, don't let me stop you, I said at last. Let's get to know each other. What do you want to know about me? She looked at me intently and chose her words. When you dream about a great life, the life where you're happy, where you have what you want, what do you dream about? What does the life of your dreams look like? Denise asked this with such earnestness that I was momentarily stopped short. A witty reply died on my lips before I shaped it. This wasn't a direction our conversations usually took. In my mind, a memory of Helena and I during the best times, I pushed it aside before it could turn into a reverie. Well, I said blankly, I don't know. How about your business, said Denise. What does it look like when you've made it? The firm? Well, more clients, word of mouth. It gets bigger? Yeah, I could see having 50 employees if we got big enough. We would need a bigger office, maybe 2 offices. And you'd be the boss. Well, yeah, eventually Manuel and I would have more of a leadership role. Most of the work would be delegated to the young guns, and then, there'd be real money. Now, wouldn't you get bored just being the deal maker and handing off the work to everyone else? Isn't the actual code writing the part that's satisfying? Ha! Is that a naive question? Oh no, I'm sorry, it's a great question. I do enjoy the challenge of writing great software, but eventually I would love to hand off the hard work and maybe treat myself to some of the easier work. In my dream life, of course. She pressed me. So the dream is to take it easy? No, I don't know. Look, for such a long time now I've been writing bank software. And there's an art to it, and like I said, a challenge that's enjoyable. But What? Well, it doesn't exactly nourish the soul. Someday in my dream life, I would want to do something else. Tell me. Maybe be an artist? You want to be an artist? She cried out. That's great. Well, hold on. In the dream life, maybe, there's the small problem of not having any talent. Were you thinking like music? Oh God, no. No talent there whatsoever. I was married to an artist, Don't worry about talent. I think Trent was faking his. Well, that's not an endorsement, I complained. I wouldn't do anything artistic if I thought I had to fake it. But you do have artistic talent. You have lots of it. You have an ocean of talent to tap into. I do? Where? You're coding. You're a programmer. My eyebrows lifted as I searched for her point. And? You think my banking code could hang in a gallery? No, you're a writer, but just in a different language. You could program anything. You mean like Skyrim? Like video games or mobile games. Oh, okay, I see your point. There's more creativity and art that went into Skyrim than 20 chart-topping songs. You could do that. Well, yeah, it's all just C++. It's the same language we use. Sure, I could make a game if I wanted to, but I don't think it would match up to Skyrim. So you do have artistic talent, or do you deny it? A smile spread across my face. I really never thought of it that way. Jasmine was back. She had the Frito Misto. A moment later, Denise and I were picking at the calamari. Do you prefer the rings? I asked her. Or are you more of a tentacle lady? I'm all about the tentacles. She skewered a big one. I'm 39. At a certain point, you just have to admit they beat the rings. Agreed, I said with my mouth full. So, keep going about your dream life. When you're done for the day making great video games, who do you go home to? I chewed thoughtfully. Is this where I'm supposed to say I have 3 kids and a dog? You tell me. I put the fork down and gave her a serious answer. In the dream life, yes, I'm a father. I should already have been one. But I blew my chance. Now, I don't know anymore. I'm 40. If I became a dad now, that feels like it's too old. 40 is too old? My dad had me at 25. I loved having a younger dad. I pitied the kids whose dads were 10, 20 years older than mine. If I have kids in my 40s, when they're my age, I'll be in my 80s. I'll have one foot in the grave. I'd be shortchanging them out of time with their father. Definitely, but imagine how shortchanged they'll feel if they don't even exist. Now that would disappoint them. Yeah, you lost me there. And who in the dream life is the mother of these kids? How does she fit into the picture? I gave Denise a suspicious eye, but I continued confessing, holding nothing back. The dream woman, I don't have a clear picture of her. It would be someone who could forgive me for my faults. Someone who would inspire me to live a better life, but mostly, I sabotage my relationships, you know that. I don't think I can help myself, it's my nature, but maybe in this dream world, my wife would take my hand and help me, and stop me from doing it. Denise was quiet. The trouble is, though, I concluded, I don't think this woman exists, and I don't intend to spend much time looking for her. I've become a little cynical on the subject. I let the words hang and took the last sip of the wine. Denise looked thoughtful. And now, I said with satisfaction, it's your turn. Your turn to be under the microscope. Same question. What's the life of your dreams? What does Denise Landon dream about? And please, I emphasized, don't hold anything back. Denise regarded me kindly, then she breathed deeply and seemed to consult some deeper place of thought.